This is just AMZN on Monday, March 23rd, 2020. Take a look at the daily, and we had a really big retracement candle today. The price we were talking about down here at 1815 was old resistance, and then we broke through, and then it was new support, and then it was new support or continued support, and then it wasn't so sure what it was doing. Today it just held again as support, which is really interesting because once we came up here and hit this top end of the channel, I thought we'd come right back down to the bottom pretty soon. I mean, the candle we had Friday did a really good job of doing that, but instead we totally just bounced off of it and retraced quite a bit here. So jumping into the 5-minute, I'm seeing a lot of similarities to what happened on Friday, and it's really interesting just kind of seeing what happened. So we didn't quite make it back up here today. We barely got there, almost got there, before having this sell-off. And what's really interesting about that is this sell-off, both of these, they basically came down to the same price area holding above 1815. And the reason that is significant is actually the last bearish candle we had down here. I think here and here. So the last bearish close, sorry, not bearish candle, the last bearish close we had, these two candles look really similar to me here and here. And, I was talking about on Friday that I made a nice bullish play right in here in the last 8 minutes of the market. And really, it was the same price zone right here. Right out the gate, we really just had a quick wick down right into 1815. And then the very next candle wicked down a little bit further past. This is a really nice bear trap where bears are getting in thinking it's going to continue. It didn't. It does its S-curve thing. It was a bearish retest gap. We gapped down from the close. Gap down here makes sense to retest. And we did that. We actually did a lot of that pre-market. Actually, we're pretty much near the highs from pre-market, which is really nuts that we came from 1815 almost back up to 1925. I mean, really past 1900. Anyway, sorry, getting distracted. Just looking at the candles. Really nice S-curve, rolled back down. The wicks up here were in the same area as the wick over here right before we sold down. This was somewhat of a false breakout. Here, let me just zoom in on today. So this bullish candle here, hammer, high wave candle, bearish high wave candle, a breakout that gets above it. People are loading up bullish, more people loading up bullish, and it comes back down. This is a really nice trap. Kind of contending with this pre-market base that it put in right here. This is 25 minutes of holding this 1870 price. Just for whatever reason, that was the price that was holding. And it held as resistance during the day, and then it popped above it. And I mean, the breakouts don't always work, and today it didn't work. Pulled back in. There were some more bulls getting in here thinking it's going bullish. Then all of a sudden you shift and you have your less bullish momentum as you get some bearish candles, and you just roll over. Rolling over, like I said, from this price up here to right about the same prices down here. Let me see, can I get both these candles? No. Sorry, can't get both these candles in. Okay, this 5-minute candle here, the close was 1821.42, and then this bearish candle right here, they're just like identical candles. The close was 1822.76. So I already forgot what I said. 1821.42, 1822.76. So a little more than $1 apart. But I mean, look at these candles. These are like identical candles. Both of them were breaking below a high wave candle here yesterday, Friday, and then here today, breaking down. A bullish candle made a slightly lower low than this candle. Slightly lower low than this candle. This one skyrocketed back up, and I made 5 hours. No, I made 4 hours on that one, and then another 1 hour during that candle. Took a little longer today. Makes sense. It's not right at the close of market on a Friday where it can have bigger moves, but instead it took really about 20 minutes to make the move from down here up to this point where it made it up to. And then what do you know? We hit the same resistance here and here, pulled back right into our pivot, 1841.30, and then bounced. And we didn't have enough time to bounce Friday, but obviously we're bouncing today. And we not only just bounced, we just rallied. This was a really nice bullish move. Continue right up to this line, which I haven't talked about what that line is, but it's really nicely placed. Where's that line coming from? Oh yeah, that's the this kind of channel line, grabbing these lows that we've had an eye on the last couple of days. And it sort of played out yesterday too. Just didn't really do it as resistance. It held it one last time, someone to support, and then it broke through. Well, here we are up here retesting that line as resistance today. So these lines work. I hope you're drawing some of them on your chart. Let me see if I can open this. Okay, pause and record those values. You can draw this exact same one on your chart, putting in the price, the date, the time, price, date, time, range, and do whatever you want with the colors. And you'll get this same channel right here. And you should see that we just were running into this as resistance. 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. This time with an upper wick, really nice inverted hammer. This time, evening star reversal. This time, a false breakout, or I wouldn't even say a breakout. It just retested. It literally retested that wick, and then came right back down. But we went sideways up here the rest of the day. We did not roll over, even though it was a bearish retest gap. This was the retest, and then this was the continuation lower. And it worked until we came right into this price, and then it was a different kind of day. So really, the bearish retest was this. Or I guess I'll technically say this, because these 2 candles are actually a retest. We opened here, we moved up, we moved down. That's a retest. It's a retest and a breakdown. We made a lower low. Over here now we're making a higher low than this one. And then with this candle, which is a really, really nice bullish candle, the open and the low are close. The high and the close are very close. It's nearly a Marbozio. You can barely even see the lower wick here. Really strong close above this price where we ran into on Friday, continuing lower then, and then today rolling over here. Really nice bullish breakthrough that. And then we were just holding this with a hammer and then some wicks, some lower wicks down here, right at the same price today. So, the only thing it really has going for it is right at like 1875, which is a nice round number. So what do we do from here? After hours looks like we're running right back up into this price. If we get some continued bullishness, I would be careful for something like this, where we have some highs poking through the this channel here. So sorry, let me sketch. Okay, so it actually gets a little. Come on, where's the sketch tool? There we go. Thank you, Zoom. Okay, so if here to, I already drew it wrong. Okay, if right here, sorry, I think I'd done this a couple times. Come on, just draw a straight line, please. Please, mouse. Okay, from there to there is overnight. That's a weekend overnight. So that's about from like there to there. Okay, so if we open up and we're like up here, and we get some pokes around and we just kind of travel up that, it'll look really similar to this, where we just kind of poked along and moved along. Well, at some point, what we did here, and it may not happen Tuesday, it'd be great if it happens Tuesday, but we'll do something like this where we continue to move up from, during the market hours, and then maybe from here to like here is Tuesday night and Wednesday morning, and then Wednesday maybe we'll get a bigger rollover. I'm not saying it's going to happen tomorrow. It could happen tomorrow. I would really like it to stay below 2000 just because of what I talked about on Friday, where this was the price around 2000, and we retested that twice pre-market, and then a third time here pre-market from Friday. And then what if we do it again? What if we actually do it up here? I'm going to start to get that feeling we shouldn't be this high in this market and what's going on. It's going to feel like it shouldn't be this high. and it needs a bigger correction then. We've had that kind of thing happen. I was trying to remember when it was where I got that feeling. Maybe here or maybe here. It's like, what are we doing? We shouldn't be up this high. It was something like that. And oh no, it was here. Oh, it was definitely over here. We made this high and then made a lower high. And then we started making some lower lows and we pushed past this. We got a higher high here than this one, lower than the all-time high, but it pushed up really bullish, really strong, very quickly, moved up into the 2000 range. And I was getting that feeling, it's like, we shouldn't be up here. Like, why are we this high? And then this happened. And I don't even have it on my screen. Then this happened. Once we got above that, even with the bullish candle, then we went high wave, sideways candle. Really up here, I was staring like, we shouldn't be this high. And then we pulled way, way, way further down. So that was the last time I distinctly remember getting that feeling. We had much smaller candles then. We had much smaller moves, but we had just been plugging along for a while. Things are a little different now. We come way over here. And, if we kind of condense that a little bit, we can make it look nice and small like it did back then. But that does look kind of funny. Okay. What if we push up a little bit more and we're up here and we chop around up here a little bit? And this range will be above this high, will be below this new all-time high, and it'll look really very similar to what we did way back when we're getting into 2050. And then from here, we could have a bigger pullback and a bigger pullback and a bigger pullback. Possibly. I obviously have no idea. I didn't think it would even get back up here, and it did that on Friday. But do you see that a little bit? Like, what if this through here is similar to what we're doing now over here? We do have a gap up here and then an all-time high. Wow. Okay, I haven't really been comparing it to that at all. But we did just make an all-time high, consolidated, gap up, all-time high, pulled back. Man, what if we do that? Okay, I'm gonna have to think some more on that because I was thinking of somewhere down here when I was kind of prepping and reviewing some things, looking for, it's like, okay, where could we be? I was thinking we were here, we weren't going to get that much higher. Obviously, now that we're higher, it feels like we're not doing this one. It feels like something else. But we did make this huge low, like that one. So we've been making some lower lows, but anyway. So drawing that out the way I had it compressed, what if we come back up here to 2100 and we're taking out some of these highs? And what if we close this gap and we're still below the all-time high? People will be going bullish in here. I'll probably be even going bullish in here and looking for some bullish day trades. And we could totally continue up there and, look to do some calls and some smaller positions the higher it gets, because we want to get into something that protects us, moving down. But overall, I'm still thinking we've got further to go down, even from here. I just don't know if we're going to poke a little higher first. And it may not get up to 2100. It could just get back up into 2000. But it would not surprise me if we come back into this high wave candle, if we come back into the 2000 price, and then from here hold like this pivot. I think that's 2003. 2005. Okay. If we hold 2005 as a pivot and then roll back down. And it may not be like a speedy roll back down. I mean, the size of the candle lately has been. But anyway, I'm getting off track. So going back into look at this, looking for something bearish through here. This is 945 to really like 1015. So that would have been puts. So it's putting a really nice base in here. This is the 1650 put. So I'm way out of the money. I'm looking for something that's making a nice round number. Hey, I found 10. 10 by 9. After it puts in this candle especially, because this one's low was 905, and it's possible you could have been stopped out just because of spreadiness. So But shortly after that, 10 by 9 could have worked, here at 10:15, but you had time. That's my point. You had time for this to kind of put a base in, go a little bit sideways, give you some prices. You could have just done like 950 by 850 and never gotten filled. Could have been 10 by 9 and you did it before this candle and it would have stopped you out. So what would have helped with timing through here? I'm not entirely sure. Waiting for the breakdown. I mean, you had this false breakout and then you're waiting for a breakdown. You're getting in over here on that wick and the small candle. I like the small candle and then the breakdown. You're losing that bullish momentum. What happened at 10:15? At 10:15 was this candle. So next one after that, the low is 10:20. So like 10:50 by 9:50 definitely would have worked. And you would have been filled over in either of these. That would have been nice. But you're flipping it out for, at 12:50 or 13:50, something like that. So you're only getting 2 or 3 R on that kind of a move. What's really interesting is what's happening down here as it starts to pull into this support. Not only the wicks being support, but Friday's candles being support. So at the 10:45 candle, okay, so this is the low. This is the new low on this move. It's a higher low than over here, but 10:45. So remember that time. We're going to go look at them in the calls. At 10:45, it's right here. So this is where it was making a low, a new low on the 5-minute chart on Amazon. But on the option, you actually moved up from the last 25 minutes. You based here. You got the same lows over here on these candles, but you've put in a base here already. That's there from 10:20. So 10:20 was this candle. So the calls, and I'm sorry, 2,100 calls. I'm way out of the money on calls. Just looking at where are we putting in bases, where are we resting on the option that's giving you a good entry point. So you had literally from this candle over to this candle, it's flat on the call. How good of a setup is that? Where it pulls back by, what is this? 1850 down to 1820 almost. It pulls back $30 and your option stays the same, but it starts to move in your direction and it skyrockets. Okay, so from 10:45, okay, again, at 10:45, I'm going the wrong way, sorry. 10:45, there's your price. You can get in 4 by 3. Easy, done. It skyrockets. All right, it doubles. It goes from 4 to 8. It's still 4R, $100 risk. Let's move in a little bit. Let's look at the 2050 call, if it'll let me. Nope, too many zeros. 2050. All right, so the 2050 call. This one's interesting. So it puts in a slightly lower low here than the open or the second 5-minute candle. Even though this was making a higher low than this, that makes sense. It's a call. It should pull back more on the option. It didn't base for as long. So at 9:45, or no, what price was it? Sorry, at 9:45. At 10:15, 10:20 to 10:45, this was going down. At 10:20, so like 10:20, it was starting to base here, going sideways. But at 10:45, you're already going up. And then you pause over here instead, where you've got a little more choppiness, but you're holding this low at like 7. So I'd rather get out of this one at like 7 by 6, knowing that even if I come back down to that low, it must be the market makers know that it's going to bounce down here. And you're looking to get it up over here instead with an option that hasn't moved much since it made this low. And it shouldn't, even if it were to go down back down there. That's a long ways for this to go when it's put in a really nice base down here, looking to move higher. So that had a really nice move, and this option being $50 closer. So this is the 2050 call. This moved. Let's say you got it at 7. This moved from 7. It doubled also from 7 to 14, but that's instead 7R. And where is it stopping? This high at 14. That should coincide with the 1145 candle here. Yep, sure enough, right into our target, right into our uptrend channel. It pushed right on through our 1900 zone here that we've had in here for a while. Got really choppy in here the rest of the day. But you had opportunities to get in, like literally over taking this move, and in about 45 minutes would have doubled an option, would have gone from 7 up to 14. Now, if you're actually getting into this, maybe you didn't catch the low at 7. Maybe to get filled as it starts going up, you're getting it at like 750, or you entered at 750 by 650, and they're getting out, even getting out at 10 because that was the previous high here. You're getting out right here. That still works, you know? So just trying to figure out some opportunities in here. If you go even tighter on the time frame, you're going down to 3 minutes. You can see some things happening a little differently. You see a really nice hammer here. The Morningstar reversal still here. You have a really nice rest after battle that does break down a little bit more. You have a slightly lower bearish close than this one here. You have a nice inverted hammer here, and another inverted hammer here, and another inverted hammer here. This points to it's going lower, those things. Let's see, rest after battle, some really big candles on its way up there. Really big 3-minute candles. And then I'm getting more familiar with looking at the 1 minute. And the 1 minute is doing some crazy stuff too. So you start to see some patterns forming on the 1 minute. So this looks like, sorry, let me sketch it because it's just easier for me to see it. This looks like some sort of complex head and shoulders, something like that, a neckline, something like that, breaks down, retests right in here, continues lower. Then you've got a double bottom here that doesn't work. You have a sort of, no, not really double bottom. You have a, kind of a head and shoulders. That's even hard to see. Okay, the bigger patterns are kind of a double bottom like this, or if you count this, then this is a shoulder, a head, and a shoulder. Your neckline is right here. Breaks out, retests the neckline right in here with a really nice hammer. This candle that I just completely covered up. Let me get rid of that. Okay, really retest really nicely with a hammer right there, holding that level, breaks out, almost comes up here, rests, lots of bearish candles, people getting out of bullish positions, or it's moving up too much, and I don't know. Anyway, you just start to see some of these patterns, and they're happening quicker, but you're still getting time. So when it's making some lows over here, you have time to get in over here because the option prices stayed the same like this. And then it's starting to move back up, and it puts in a price here, but you can still get that same price here on the calls. So, you know, it's about half an hour later on each of these, arrow. It's about 30 minutes later. And so if you're in a place you can watch these, you can watch it put in a level and check the options. You can see what we can try to get there. It's approximately waiting 30 minutes. Now, it's not exactly 30, and I know we're down to 1 minute. I'm talking about 30 minutes. But there's some opportunities to get into some of these lows, or at least to set up the trade, and to be doing that ahead of a potentially big move. Now, obviously, I didn't know it was going to make this move today. Seeing this as being the breakdown, you know, we got the retests here and the breakdown here. You know, it makes sense that, okay, it's going to break, it's going to retest here, and it's going to continue lower here, and it doesn't. So maybe you get stopped out of this over here. I'm sorry, you get stopped out over here. But then you reverse, and you set up getting in, you know, getting in here and getting stopped out if it comes down here. You reverse it, trigger and stop. Then once you get up here, I put a nice base, ran up some highs, and even just trading this back and forth a couple times. You can do that too. So there's lots of opportunities here. We need to remind ourselves there's lots of opportunities here. You know, you find the time frame you're comfortable with, I know I've been going to the 5 minute, 3 minute, the 1 minute, just trying to give some perspective on this. The 5 minute is great. It's, you know, it's a great place to start with day trading. I just want you to see that there's other things going on smaller time frames that can give you some more indication of maybe patterns that are happening in a smaller time frame that help you see them here. Like this, looking at the 5 minute here, I would mainly see a double bottom here, a low, and then a retest of a neckline. I would mainly just see that on a 5 minute, but I just showed you on the 1 minute, and you can go back and watch that part again. Then there's a lot more going on there. It's more like an inverted head and shoulders, and this is the neckline retest. Now it's still a neckline on a 5 minute. It's just a head and shoulders neckline on a 1 minute or a 2 minute or a 3 minute, something like that. Still setting up to potentially have a bigger move because that pattern would suggest that you'd have somewhat of a measured move. Now, in this case, it was much larger. By measured, in this case, normally you take the neckline to the head, and that would be about here. In this case, we obviously went not just there, but we went 1, 2, and I'm not being fair drawing that. So we went 1, 2, 3 times that distance of the neckline to the head, just because that pattern showed up. So, yeah. And then, like I said, sideways the rest of the day. Puts just drifted lower, not much happening. You probably could have just kind of scalped a little bit through here. Calls, these pulled way back on the move. We're way out of the money. We're going to lose value if we pull back at all or go sideways at all. Still give you some opportunities to scalp, getting in at 8, getting out at 9 or 8.50 by 7.50, getting out at 9.50 or 10, some opportunities there to scalp. You can come in closer. So the next one closer would be 2000 strike. You can see the pricing here. So again, we based very closely to the low. 10 by 9 here. Didn't really have as good of opportunities to get in later because this was a really nice base and a really nice range to define your low, about 9. And so looking for entries at 10. But to get in at 11 and have a stop at 10, that would have been a little bit tight. Or even 10 by 9, obviously would have taken a larger R. Oops, didn't mean to turn that on. Oh, man. I clicked something, and I always forget what I did and how to get it back. I clicked the wrong thing. Okay. Well, I'm just about done. Last time I did this, I think I had to close the program. I forgot what I did. I just clicked the wrong thing, and it disappeared. Can't do undo. Auto zoom. No, that's not what I want. Something about left axis. Left axis. Custom. No. Style. I don't remember what it was. Chart. Oh, no. Chart. I don't know what it was. And I'm really sorry because, well, I was about done with the video, but I don't remember what this is on this side. Oh, that's that price? That's weird. That's the theoretical price over there. I don't even get that. I still don't understand the theoretical price thing. Okay. Anyway, that was about all I had for the video. Didn't mean to sidetrack here. But like I said, with after hours, we're up a little bit more. It could continue a little more. I hope I'm wrong. And we do just totally break down. We'll just have to wait and see. I don't want to draw more stuff yet just because this has been working out pretty well. We've got some lows down in here. We continued with those today. So 18.15 is the next price to break. If and when we get below that, it's not far to get to like 1800 or wherever this line is going to be at that time. But we can start crashing down through, and I don't want to use the word crashing, but we could start finding pivots in these candles. So that means looking back at any of this to see, okay, where are we pivoted? So like after hours here, 1785 is a nice pivot, and then we've got 1847. We've got these prices we already got drawn in here. So this one's about 50% in here. No, not quite 50%. 1785 isn't quite. But if we do get below this price, you can see there isn't too much in this range through here before we get to these three pivots. And so we did that quite a bit last week, where we moved through those quickly. If we start getting into this range, look for it to break down, retest, then continue, and not have too much of a. I mean, it could pivot like this one did. This day, where it goes from down to up. From down to up to down to up, and then it just jogged back and forth quite a bit, oscillated quite a bit, just like it did today earlier on. So look for that kind of thing in here if we get back down here. Otherwise, if we keep moving up, at some point it's going to get uncomfortable. It's going to be too high for comfort. But anyway, hope this helps. This is just AMZN.